Hello guys, welcome to Civil Concept, and in this video I will show you 9 thumb rules or points to design a RCC column. Okay, so I will show you the 9 important thumb rules to design a column. Whenever we design any column, then we have to keep in mind some important data regarding the column. Okay, so first point is our size of column. The size of column depend on the total load on the column. Okay, so if we are constructing the numbers of storage, then we have to provide the size of column according to this. Okay, so the minimum size of RCC column should not be less than 9 inch by 12 inch. Okay, and if we see in the mm, then we have to provide at least 230 mm to 300 mm as a size of the column. Okay, so here you can see this is the standard data. It has been came from the tab. Okay, so it is not necessary to provide the data size of column like this, because it depends on the different factors like seismic load, okay, soil condition, etc. Okay, so if we are constructing the building up to 2 story, then we can provide the standard size of the column 230 mm to 230 mm. Okay, if we are providing up to 3 story, then we can provide the standard size of the column 300 mm by 300 mm. Okay, if we are constructing the story up to 10 story, then we can provide 750 mm by 750 mm. Okay, but if we are constructing the building up to 20 story, then from 1 to 7 story we can put 800 mm by 800 mm as a size of column. Okay, from 8 to 15 story we can provide 600 mm to 600 mm 600 mm by 600 mm, and from 16 to 20 story building we can provide 450 mm by 450 mm column. Okay, and if we are constructing the building up to 30 story, then we can provide the size of column like this. Okay, up to 10 story we can provide 850 by 850 mm, up to 11 to 20 we can provide 650 mm by 650 mm, and up to 21 to 30 story we can provide 470 mm by 470 mm as a size of the column. Okay, again I am telling you that this data has been came from the tab, and it depends on the different load according to the building types and the soil condition of the site. Okay, but these are the standard size of the column up to 30 story of the building. Okay, now number 2 is our distance between the columns. Okay, the maximum distance between the column should not be greater than 5 meter for safe structure. Okay, for this minimum size of the beam should be 9 inch by 12 inch or 225 mm by 300 mm should be used if we are providing the distance between the column up to 5 meter. Okay, so this is very important terms, that the distance between the column should not be greater than 5 meter. Okay, so you can see here this is our column. Okay, and the distance between this should not be greater than 5 meter, or if we convert it into feet, then it may be up to 16 feet. Okay, so we should provide the distance between two column less than 16 feet. Okay, so recommended minimum rebar in the beam, if we are providing the distance between the rebar up to 5 meter, then we can provide top steel minimum 2 bars. Okay, it also depend on the different load on the beam, but minimum top rebar should be 2 bars of 12 mm. Crank bar should be used up to 2 bars of 12 mm. Okay, at angle of 45 degree, and it should be up to L by 4 distance. For example, if we are constructing a beam like this, then up to L by 4 distance. Okay, L by 4 distance we have to provide crank bars. Okay, and bottom steel bar should be in 3 in number, and which should not be less than 12 mm. Okay, so these are the recommended minimum rebar in the beam if we are putting the spacing between the two columns as a 5 meter or 16 feet. Okay, now our third point is alignment of the column. Okay, so the alignment of the column should be placed in the grid. Okay, so you can see in this picture these beams, these columns has been placed in the grid. Okay, so if we put one column here and another column here, then it will not called as grid. Okay, so now if you are seeing the one column is here, one column is here, and these column are placed in this line, this line, this line. Okay, so these types of system arrangement of column is known as grid. Okay, so the alignment of column should be placed in the grid. It reduces the point load on the beam and unnecessary complication while construction. Okay, so if we do not provide the column in the grid, then what will happen? If we provide one column here and one column here, then load will applied here. Okay, so this will counted as a point load and it will be danger for our structure. Okay, so we have to provide always the column in a grid in the same line, either in x direction or either in y direction. Okay, so this also reduce the cost of construction as well as the time required for the construction. Okay, now point number 4 is use minimum M20 grade of concrete. Okay, so M20 grade of concrete means the compressive strength of the concrete should not be less than 20 Newton per mm square. Okay, for a column. Okay, so M is a mixed ratio and its mixed ratio should not be less than 1 is to 1.5 is to what 3. Okay, so this is a mixed ratio, 1 part of cement, 1.5 part of sand and 3 parts of aggregate. Okay, this is called as the ratio of M20 grade of concrete. Okay, so we should not use the less than M20 grade of concrete if we are constructing a column. Okay, now point number 5 is the longitudinal rebar in the column should not be less than 12 mm and the stirrup should not be less than 8 mm. Okay, if we are constructing a column, then the longitudinal bars, it means the long bars, the vertical bars should not be less than 12 mm of diameter. Okay, and the stirrups used to tie these longitudinal bars should not be less than of 8 mm. Okay, now point number 6 is the lapping of the longitudinal rebar should be provided at the mid of the column. Okay, so this is very important term. Okay, so if this is our column, okay, so the lapping should be provided at the mid of this column. Okay, so we should not provide at the topper end or the lower end. Okay, it will be danger because the maximum moment in the column applied at the end of the column. Okay, so you can see in this picture, and also one thing, you have to provide the lapping in the staggered form. Okay, so you can see in this picture it is in staggered form. One lapping is here, another is here, another is here, another is here. So this is the correct method, and in this picture you can see this lapping has provided in the same level. So this is not a correct method of lapping. Okay, and lapping should be always provided at the mid of the column. Okay, now point number 7 is the clear cover of the column. Okay, so clear cover means what? Clear cover means the distance between this rebar and the outer surface of the concrete. Okay, so this is known as what? Clear cover. Okay, so the clear cover in the column should not be less than 40 mm. Okay, so this is very important. We can provide more than 40 mm according to the design and rebar quantity, but the minimum clear cover should be how much? 40 mm. Okay, now point number 8 is the spacing of the stirrup should not be greater than 150 mm. Okay, so you can see in this column. Okay, so these are the stirrups. Okay, so this stirrups has tied in the some spacing. The spacing minimum maximum spacing should be how much? 150 mm. Okay, so according to design you can decrease the spacing between the stirrups, but the maximum spacing of the stirrup should be 150 mm. Okay, now our point number 9 and last point is the development length of the column should be provided of at least 50 d. Okay, so what is 50 d? 50 d is the diameter of the rebar. Okay, so 50 d, first of all I want to tell you what is development length. You can see in the in this figure that rebar has came like this and turned like this at the footing. Okay, so this length is known as what? Development length. Okay, so we have to provide this development for the stable structure, and this development length should not be less than 50 d. Okay, so d is the diameter. For example, if we are using the diameter of the rebar 12 mm. Okay, so the minimum development length should be how much? 50 into 12. Okay, and this value which will come should be minimum length of the development length. Okay, so guys, these are the 9 thumb rules and points which are very important for a civil engineer to design a RCC column. Okay, so this much for today. Please like this video and subscribe my channel for new update about civil engineering. Thank you.